Hello, good evening, and welcome. I'm John Lazarus with Stories Matter and D&E Publishing. If you've ever listened to a popular artist and just not gotten it, or if you've tried to publish books deemed by federal appellate courts to be not protected by the First Amendment, you'll understand what it feels like to be against society. Today we'll look at man versus society conflicts in our fiction. This is the fourth installment of our six-part series. If you turn to prostitutes because you're insecure with yourself, click here. And if you became a prostitute because you thought it would piss off your abusive parents, click on this one. And if you just want to write about storms or some shit, click here. Man versus society is a great way to get your reader to think about their culture, their values, and their beliefs, and question those assumptions. Charlotte's Web made me wonder if it's okay to eat pork. I mean, bacon is delicious, but pigs are just as intelligent as dogs, and I've only killed a handful of them, even fewer on purpose. Before Fahrenheit 451, I knew that burning books was bad, but it did make me reconsider deliberately burning a large chunk of my back catalog that Tabitha Cartwright had seized control over and put her name on. Now you might be asking, what's the point of doing these types of conflict? Don't people read the news for that sort of thing? Although you're probably not asking that, actually. I realized most of my viewers aren't as stupid as I picture them to be when I make these videos. Still, while the news is mostly about making you as angry and nervous as possible to sell ad space to pharmaceutical companies that sell you medicine to alleviate the symptoms your constant nerves have caused, fiction can't be so didactic. The great thing about man versus society conflicts is that readers can draw their own conclusions about who is right. The most famous example of a man versus society conflict in fiction is probably Footloose, the 1983 story about a group of dangerous teens who should probably just bring their awful music and dancing somewhere else. But as many of First Date have pointed out, that's not the point of the movie. We'll paint ourselves as heroes and wonder why everyone else is just sheeple on this edition of Stories Matter. Today's video is brought to you by the Whittington Carbon Offset Program. In case I haven't made it clear yet on this channel, climate change is your fault. Yes, I'm talking to you, the person watching this video. The disappearing rainforest and all that plastic and shit in the ocean, well, it's because you exist and you buy things, and it doesn't matter if you recycle or if you're a vegan or homeless, it's still your fucking fault. But don't worry, the solution is easy. All you have to do is buy a bunch more stuff from corporations who will then take some of that money and through the carbon offset program plant some type of trees somewhere, and you can make all that guilt go away. There's no need for more information, just keep buying stuff. Tip 1. Give your protagonist strong convictions. In real life, it's hard to stand against society. Most of us look around at the rising inequality and collapsing environment and fascist rhetoric and just collapse into a pile, exhausted at how people keep falling for the bullshit of authoritarians. But this isn't a man versus self conflict. Your protagonist can't be an aimless mid-20s writer having random conversations with liberal bohemians like every story in your MFA class. In fiction, characters are motivated by their strong convictions and take action. Maybe they think it's wrong to outlaw having sex with an advanced race of space aliens with 3 vaginas, so then they kick off an intergalactic war. Your character should have some form of awakening that something is deeply wrong in their society. In my novel, Storming the Gates of Heaven, the co-protagonist Carter doesn't respect or understand the plight of immigrants in the United States until he visits a global food market. Tip 2. Personify society through character. Society can be a hard thing to pin down, which is what makes it so frustrating. I mean, does society want me to be a stay-at-home dad? Or does it want me to be a bare-chested model with a six-pack who could nail every Applebee's waitress from Spokane to Orlando? We get so many mixed messages. Your story can't be that messy. So create a character who personifies the larger systemic issues in that society. In One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, Nurse Ratched is a symbol of the dehumanizing forces of society as she rules over the mental institution with an iron fist. It helps us connect more with McMurphy's rebellion, which we really shouldn't because, he's a rapist. Dictators, wardens, and managers are all staples you can fall back on, but try to be unique. In my novel, Daryl, the main antagonist is a woman whose husband killed both her children, their dog, and himself. Because of this, and because she is constantly subject to the effects of gun violence on children as an emergency room physician, she tries to enact sweeping gun reform, putting her at odds with my protagonist. Tip 3. Make your motivations complicated. Comically fascist societies just aren't true to life. People don't just start wars under flimsy pretenses. Nor do those fascist societies treat even their most ardent followers as sheep to be disposed of when they're no longer needed. Your story needs to be more complex than that. While your protagonist needs to rebel, there should be other forces making them resistant. Maybe they have really sensitive ears, so the thought of having to shoot guns turns them off. Maybe they think arranged marriage is a barbaric institution, and even though they have a girlfriend they love, their parents actually set them up with a woman who has an insane rack for her body frame. Like just absolutely nuts. And it doesn't even seem like she's had any work done. Tip 4. Does society change, or does the character? Finally, your story needs to end with some sort of transformation. 1984 famously ends with the haunting defeat of Winston Smith. Star Wars, on the other hand, ends with the authoritarians defeated. Only then it doesn't. And then it does again. And then it doesn't. And then I pretty much stopped giving a shit. But don't be afraid to think smaller. Victory could just be one character getting his dad to stop watching Fox News. It could be one character realizing he doesn't need to be bulimic to be handsome. It could be one writer getting public opinion back on his side with some charitable donations, so people stop remembering the horrible fire that killed so many of his employees. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll leave you with this week's This Day in Literary History. See you on the next one.